And we're live. This is not the show. Calm down. Everyone goes, oh, why are they waffling on? Don't worry. There will be a timestamp in the description. You just click that, and it magically just goes to me going, we live F1. That was pretty sleek. Like, you've got to have some radio skills to pull off some segues like that. Woo! I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but that was good. Like, if radio hadn't died, I would, I was going to say, I'd be on national radio now. No, I wouldn't. It's horribly competitive, and it's all TV show hosts and people's nieces and nephews. Not that I'm bitter. Hello. Oh, hello. Oh, is this not the platform where I rant about my mediocre failed radio career? I was a gardening host, you know. 2 years. 2 years I was a gardening host, telling people to add tomato right. I didn't know anything about gardening before, and I learned nothing. But it was good fun. It was COVID times. They were desperate. They were absolutely desperate. And Kyle's here. Hello, Kyle.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Been a while since I've been on this show.
Yeah.
But you survived a BBC radio career without a sex scandal.
So far. Nothing has come out so far. But yeah, that's true. But I think it's fair to treat me with an air of suspicion. I think that would be reasonable at this point. Oh, God, there was another one recently. Did you catch the recent one?
No.
It was the very famous DJ, late night DJ. Oh, now I'm saying, he's super famous, but like he was like the main Radio 1 guy about 20 years ago.
Oh, not Scott Mills.
No, not Scott Mills. No, he was like
obviously not Moylesy.
He was really into like street culture, but he was like very, very white.
Westwood.
Westwood, yeah, there we go.
No.
I think so. Oh, hang on. Before we get in trouble, I've just got to Google that is the right person, because I've done this before on radio. I said,
right, we're not going to have a letter from the lawyers, are we?
No, I said that David Essex was dead, and I meant David Cassidy, I think, and like people were tweeting him and atting him and stuff, and it was a proper Alan Partridge moment. It was a nightmare. And the radio bosses had me on the phone for maybe 3 hours, like a full-on. I was on holiday. They had me on the phone for like 3 hours, a full-on grilling, and they went through like recent shows, like word by word, and it was a proper like, this is your final chance.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was Tim Westwood that's had the allegations recently, but yeah, I think I was all right as far as I know, as far as I can recall, I was perfectly fine. So it's a safe place. This is a safe place. We've got Megan Smith back. We didn't scare you off the first time, Megan?
No, and I didn't scare you guys off. I can actually speak this time. Haven't lost my voice completely.
Oh my God.
Glad to be back.
You sounded terrible last time.
I sounded awful, but you guys were really nice about it.
And you had a cold.
Yeah, and I had a cold.
It was the
terrible bit, Scottish accent.
So I was going to delay that episode because I just wanted, right, in the F1 Academy show on Netflix, they for some reason, they only had subtitles on Dorian Pan. When it was it was so funny, like they're all speaking English, and then for Dorian Pan they suddenly randomly had subtitles. I thought, and I was saying to my wife, I was like
maybe we should do that.
I wanted to have subtitles, but only for Megan, and she was like,
I think that would have been nice.
Richard, you cannot do that.
I would have completely respected it, and comparing to Dorian Pan, that's quite a nice compliment.
Yeah. Hello, live chat. I forgot about the live stream. That's good. Ahmed's here. Uncle Steve's here as well. Hello, Maria. Hi, EJ. Stuart is here. Stuart controls every ship in the world. Heraclea is there. EJ. Oh, that's EJ again. And yeah. So I wonder why Spanner's radio career got busted, says Maria. It's really difficult. There's hardly any spots. And I went like win or bin. That was my approach. It was like, I'm going to be as Spanners as possible. And I don't think radio didn't really want a Spannersy person. So there's an interesting thing with that kind of, say, BBC, because I was on BBC, you have to be an umbrella for everyone, and you have to like welcome in a broader church as possible. So it really restricts what you do. And this is why the F1 journalists are really neutral, and sometimes you can't take everything they say as gospel, because they have to accommodate for both sides of a very divisive atmosphere. Whereas in podcast land, we hope that 1,000 people find the show, and that 500 will be like, what's this? Not really for me. Maybe 100 will go, I'll give it another listen, or I'll listen to the whole show. And out of that as well, maybe like 50 are like, this guy is the worst and I hate him. And they send horrible messages. But you just keep skimming. From that 100 people, maybe 10 become subscribers. So it's like 1% of every person you get to listen to the show. If you can get 1%, that's a win. And that really changes the dynamic between mainstream media and independent media.
Well, mainstream, you've got to be a certain flavour, haven't you? You've got to be sort of vanilla, basically, within the realms of vanilla,
Yeah,
essentially. You can't stray too far.
No. And my wife has always called me Marmite. Like, not just my career, as a person. She's like, people either get you or they don't get you. Go, okay. And that's fine for podcasting, because you find your church, if you like. You find
But for the world of gardening, that's like, it's too far.
No, for gardening, I had
for
to...
gardening, you have to be as vanilla as possible.
Essentially, I had to pretend that gardening was a worthwhile use of your time.
Oh, it's such a worthwhile use of time.
Can you have controversial viewpoints on gardening?
Yeah,
I guess
what's
you
the most
could,
controversial
actually.
flower statement?
No, there's no such thing as a tree.
Planting the bulbs early.
I did a whole show that there's no such thing as the concept of a tree isn't real. So there are just lots of different types of plant that bring on what we consider to be tree-like features, but calling all the different things trees is like calling everything that flies a fly. So you see a bee and you go,
don't agree.
It's scientifically true.
Oh my God, I'm getting the BBC glaze over already. It's just
but like if you see a bee and you go, oh, look, it's flying, it's a fly. Oh, look, there's a bird, it's flying, it's a fly. They're all related. That's the same as trees.
Wow.
You can argue with me if you want.
You're going to have to go right into gardening.
Megan, you're clever, aren't you? You're like educated.
I mean, yeah, you could say that. I went to St Andrews Uni. I don't know how much well that degree's been used to me, but I went.
That's a Scottish uni, though, isn't it? So
I did get in for you do get to go for free if you live in Scotland. So.
What was it? Can I ask? What is your?
I did my degree in international relations and politics.
Blimey!
I know. I'll take it.
Wow.
Me
and I
Kyle,
haven't used that. I now work in content. I don't use that.
But your employer knows you're the sort of person who can get a degree at St Andrews for international politics and blah blah blah. I
guess, yeah.
Yeah, so they know you're clever. Yeah, like I got a mate who got a art history of art degree, and he's a Vodafone exec now. And you go, how does that work?
It's almost like anyone that gets or a philosophy degree. Yeah. You're not going to use that.
Yeah. All right. I think we're going to get into the show. We used up all our zoo content pre-show, didn't we? So it's all gone.
Oh, we love the zoo. Yeah, I can't talk about the zoo anymore.
I'm slightly distracted because I have the big tennis match tomorrow, the big game.
Oh, so
the big game,
first knockout tournament game, and here's the issue. If I'm playing a competitive game, and I'm sure, like Meg, you're a runner, you do play tennis.
I've done 2 marathons,
but like
so not to flex, but
2 marathons.
I have done 2 marathons.
I think people who do marathons are sad.
Oh, I think we're just insane.
Yeah, it's like, how empty does your life have to be to run for 26 miles consecutively?
Bleak.
It's like when you see people jogging, but they jog through the town centre or through busy areas. That's the most single thing you can ever do.
Yeah, but they're doing that to get a coffee and a pastry at the end.
No, they're not. They're doing it so people go, maybe they'll look at me and go, look at that sexy running man. Maybe I won't
cyclists
be alone.
do the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
Literally, nobody wants to be in public in spandex, but you will go there to get cake and a beer or bangers and mash, as I did yesterday.
Oh, lovely.
I don't want to talk about your cycling yesterday. You did 53k.
Yeah. Whew. I was still pretty fatigued, but there was beer and bangers and mash halfway, which was good, which got me... Oh, and a double whiskey Coke, which got me home, which is good.
I don't think you should admit to crimes on the stream.
It was not... I was still sober.
Right? Oh, isn't the law the same? If the law's not the same, then that changes everything.
Hang about. This bit doesn't go public, does it?
No.
It does now, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and now you have to say, only kidding. I would never do that.
There was a joke.
Allegedly.
Yeah, this stays up. Yeah. Sorry. No, but yeah, I've got that. So if you're doing a marathon or a bike race, like if you come in 100th, you're not worried about it. You're just worried about your own personal best. So I'm the same in this tournament, but my friend is actually good at tennis. So when this tournament thing went up, he was like, Rich, we're going to enter. I'm like, no, I've seen you be sad when you don't win tennis, and I don't want to be the reason that you're sad, right? And then he's like, no, it's going to be okay. And I thought he meant, it's going to be okay. I don't mind if we win or lose. Yeah. Turns out, no. What he meant was, it's going to be okay. We'll definitely win. I'm like, oh, no. And he's trying to get me to run drills today. I'm like, what drills? I just want to get it over the net. My drill is get it back over the net more times than they do it. And he's like, no. We've got all these tactics. I'm like, geez. So he's taking it super seriously. We've drawn my next door neighbour randomly as well as part of the draw. So, yeah. So my new fun, chill hobby that just keeps me fit suddenly has taken on a competitive edge that I am not ready for.
I think you're fine. The neighbor, you just never need to see the neighbor again.
Yeah, slash their tires before you leave the house.
Yeah, that's so true. If they can't turn
can't
up,
get
you
there,
still win.
Sabotage it.
Kidnap his cats. Yeah. Yeah, that's
that's going to keep him home.
Oh wait, no, I went too far the other way. Right,
He could watch this.
Right, well,
still not live, still not going out.
And this isn't even the most amount of crimes we've ever admitted to on a live stream. So I think we get on and we do the spinny car and we talk about some Formula One with my F1 friends. And don't worry, Matt is back for the preview show. And I think we're going to get Mike Caulfield on as well. I haven't exactly arranged it, but he's willing, able, and normally when we arrange it and say that he's going to be on, he is on. So that'll be good. Looking forward to Circuit of the Americas, one of my very, very favourite Formula One tracks. Is my voice starting to go gravelly? Did I get all passionate? Oh, we didn't do the quiz. Oh, we didn't do the little quiz of quizzing the people on Kyle's shirt. Let's do it quickly. Okay. Okay, here we go. Kyle, right, what year is Kyle's shirt from? Ding, 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 ding. That's probably going to get copyrighted as well. So anyway, you guys can play that while I launch into the intro. You are listening to Missed Apex Podcast. We live F1. Welcome to Missed Apex Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Reddy, but my friends call me Spanners. So, let's be friends. There really is no such thing as a quiet week in Formula One anymore, is there? Just as we're relaxing into the 2-week break, all hell breaks loose at McLaren and Australian F1 goes into meltdown, as there is some suggestion that Zak Brown never wanted Piastri in the first place, which seems to validate the Australian insistence that McLaren are favouring Lando Norris. So coming up, we'll ask, has McLaren finally given the game away? We'll ask, is Vasseur the guy, the one that has what it takes to bring Ferrari back to the top? We'll wonder which one of the one eligible candidates for the upcoming FIA presidency will win the uncontested election. And we'll ask if the Singapore Grand Prix coverage was that bad. And did they spend too much time focusing on non-F1 things? We are an independent podcast produced in the podcasting shed with the kind support of our patrons and partners. We aim to bring you a race review before your Monday morning commute. We might be wrong, but we're first. Hey, sometimes we're wrong about being first. Get off my back. I'm not changing my tagline just because it might not be true. I'm joined in the shed ably by our MotoGP podcast host, Kyle Power. Hi, Kyle.
Hey, it's nice to be back on the four-wheeled show again. I've got to get my mind back into Formula One. And I get to slag off some fan bases, I think, in this show, which should be fun.
All the fan bases are terrible, Kyle. Like, I don't think I've never known, obviously, a more toxic time in online. And I shouldn't be online as much as I am. And sometimes people accuse me, oh, you only think that because you're perpetually online. I'm like, nuh-uh. But I have to be. I have to be across. I have to be across what people are saying. And, you know, there are, like, Piastri fans, they pointed to some kind of stage thing where they said, look, they only let Norris speak. They don't let Piastri speak. I was like, oh, now I've got to go and find footage of this show. It's like, no, they both spoke. It's fine.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's one of the main reasons I've largely stepped back away completely from social media. I haven't deleted my accounts, but I don't really interact or do anything anymore. I lurk. I've turned into a behind the scenes lurker, and I just see it, and now I just kind of laugh at it. And I got embroiled into it. Like during 2021, I got embroiled in the toxicity and all of it ramping up. And now I'm just I put myself back into the rose tinted sort of spectacles, good old days, and I don't interact, and I feel much better for it. I'm just laughing at everyone else now. So I look dimly upon just about every group of hardcore fanatics online, but it is amusing for the likes of me.
No, you're a quitter. You got to just stay knee deep in the scum and the slums of especially Twitter is definitely the worst
it's a
one.
Cesspit.
But yeah, everywhere online. We're also joined, we didn't scare her off. So Megan Smith is back. Hello, Megan.
I'm back physically able this time and chronically online myself, so can't complain.
Yeah, but if you're a content creator, you have to be across all of it. So for your TikToks, you have to know like what is the general opinion and like how do you find your comments sections?
I mean, the thing is that especially because I'm on TikTok, so you can follow me on TikTok, but that is just kind of also a cesspit because everyone has kind of they're getting quite mean on TikTok with when you kind of when you're a fan of something, they will die for that, and they get quite mean to other fans. So right now, we'll talk about Piastri and his fans, but these Lando Norris fans, they just butt heads on TikTok, which is kind of interesting for me as someone that wants to kind of report with a kind of step back and kind of show all lights to it. But people will jump on that.
But look, I'm really partisan. Like if I'm a fan of one driver or the other, I'm all in. So
I'll die. I'll live and die for that. I'm a Taylor Swift fan at heart. I've been in the trenches.
Yeah, I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
No, you won't believe. You weren't a Taylor Swift fan in 2020 and 2014.
So, I mean, 2021, obviously I was definitely in that. I was heavily invested as a Lewis Hamilton fan and with the Vettel battles as well. And, you know, in the trenches in the Rosberg era, and it's become increasingly worse. Actually, now it's really interesting because, I like Leclerc. I really do. I've been backing Norris, you know, vaguely, mostly because of, you know, cricket rivalries and not wanting an Australian to win. So, but I have been kind of stepped back from. When you step back from it, you go, "Oh no, that's all awful." Was I that? Yes, I was.
Yeah, I stepping back is lovely because I kind of don't have much skin in the game. Like I should be supporting Norris really as a Brit, but I'm not massively patriotic, and I've struggled to warm to him. I think I'm leaning more Piastri way, but I don't really mind. I don't really mind, and I'm quite enjoying sitting back and just watching the chaos unfold online over it, and then the subsequent meltdowns. It's rather amusing, but it makes the races almost even more interesting. And then I rarely come away with a sour taste in my mouth now, if you know what I mean. It's kind of almost improved the experience for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that as a Brit, I should be supporting Lando Norris, but I am kind of also in the same camp. I'm Scottish, so you kind of don't want you kind of then want the other person to win. You've kind of got this kind of, even when the World Cup's on, we'll go, sorry, England.
Megan.
We will suddenly support Spain.
No, I'm with you. When people accuse me of British bias, it really sticks in my throat because I'm like, no. English bias, please. Like,
it's not me. Don't rope me in. I guess I'm supporting Oscar Piastri.
Bring in a Welsh or Scottish F1 driver and just watch.
Get me that.
Yeah, just watch if it's British bias because it won't be. But yeah, this is really Britain versus Australia at the moment, and the focus at the moment is the Piastri fans. I will say the Piastri fans are the most upset. They are the loudest, and I do wonder, do they have reason to be upset? They have definitely been talking about Zach Brown favouring Lando Norris. Lots of clips of, when Piastri wins, it's like a funeral. When Norris wins, it's like a celebration. And this Alex Palou case has done nothing to dampen that. So, Megan Smith, what is going on with this Alex Palou court case? Who is Alex Palou? Who's suing who?
Well, basically, I think that kind of, if anyone's missed it, the court case right now is that Alex Palou is they're in court right now with Zach Brown. Basically, he thinks that he was promised an F1 seat as part of his contract and believes that he was due an F1 seat. And part of the contract, they had the F1 salary that he would have gotten if he got the F1 seat. So this is quite interesting.
So it was pre-negotiated?
Apparently, he had a expected salary if he was to race in F1. But again, that's the only thing that seems to be written on paper evidence-wise, yeah.
But this is McLaren suing Palou for pulling out of the contract?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so I don't know the other details of that case. Sorry, Kyle.
Yeah, so he reneged on the contract then, because my understanding is, I didn't think there was anything really in writing, like if there was, like if he got it was all very subjective, so it seems like a bit like he said, she said at the moment, going into court. When you hear Palou's, he's been giving testimony in court, I think it's in the UK commercial courts at the moment, to try to go through. So McLaren are suing him for $20 million, about 15 million quid. But everything he's kind of said is they were like, Zach Brown kind of semi-promised me a drive, but it doesn't seem like anything solid, really. But of course, the Piastri camp now are kind of using this as leverage to think, look, Zach Brown is really bad and is evil and is against us.
So, right, Alex Palou, Indy driver, right?
Yeah.
So he came through the European system? Or no?
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Okay. And then ends up going to IndyCar. Oh, hang on.
Yes.
I think so. I think he was quite, I don't know where, I think he did the Euro right. Formula 3, I think, and then went over into IndyCar.
Yeah, so then I guess Zach Brown said, right, drive for McLaren in IndyCar, and if you do this, then maybe there'll be sweets, prizes, and glory and fame somewhere along the line. Then they signed Piastri. Palau goes, well, in that case, my F1 career is doomed. I'm out of here. I'm reneging on my contract, and that's what McLaren is suing them for.
Yeah, an additional thing as well is that Alex Palau was allegedly told by Zak Brown that his results when Piastri was announced, that his results would be compared against Piastri for the 2024 seat, and that obviously didn't come to light either. So part of the reason they pulled out.
Yeah, so I don't follow the junior series as closely as I should, but Connor here is saying Palau then did a Super Formula stint and got picked up for IndyCar from there.
There you go.
All right. So he was originally racing for Chip Ganassi Racing, and then McLaren tried to poach him, I think, to get him into their IndyCar program as well, on the sort of vague promise of an F1 drive as well. And of course, he wanted to get to F1. He's an extremely talented chap. But then he was really irked when they signed Piastri, and this whole thing, which the Piastri fans are getting annoyed with now, and all of the headlines, I think it's quite sensationalist they're running with. I've seen loads of headlines with saying Zak Brown, I never wanted Piastri, and I think that is grossly unfair, because I don't think he ever said that. I think in the conversation he said with Alex, and this is in Alex Palau's testimony, was saying that Zak Brown basically just said, "Oh, it wasn't me who signed him. It was Seidel, the previous team manager that signed him," and the press have taken that and managed to construe that into I never wanted Piastri,
I hate him and all Australians.
Yeah,
basically, I hate Australia.
yeah, basically, and now the Australians have jumped on it and using that to fuel the fire.
But see, these are private conversations, though, aren't they? These are private conversations that are being used as evidence, and so you go, this is actually a fairly typical corporate environment where you go, well, if you do this thing for me, maybe you can have these cookies in the future. And oh no, it didn't work out. And he definitely wouldn't be the first employer in the world to dangle a carrot to get you to do a thing that you want. And they will tend to overpromise. So managers in situations get, they're trying to motivate 3 or 4 employees for one position. And obviously you're going to have 2 people that are left disappointed. And if it's a private conversation, you're going to try and get away with, well, it wasn't me. It was Seidel. It what? Hey, Alex, trust me. I was shoving your contract down his throat. I was saying, no, Piastri's scum. I said take him, but no, it's out of my hands. There's nothing I could do. But there is some kind of stories about him saying to his staff, right, make sure we delete the WhatsApps so that there's no trail.
Yeah, apparently this is a thing that apparently in McLaren they've got WhatsApp deletes on, which I just don't even know how to begin to have that as an option on your phone. But if it's not written down, it's just, no person can remember exactly every meeting they're having in their workday. This is very much a memory game. It's the same when someone writes a kind of autobiography or a biography, is that you are telling stories from your memory. If there's no concrete hard evidence, it is basically a game of I feel like I was promised and no one's given it to me. Like, you can't go by memory alone.
Exactly that. Because it's not written in. If you signed a contract and you were guaranteed an F1 drive, not led to believe, that's why everything I've read from them, it all sounds very, very shaky. And what distant WhatsApp sort of chats, are they legally binding? Are they sort of thing? Like, I know there's been a lot of controversy in Formula 1 and WhatsApp chats, but that's, the disappearing messages thing. I've seen a few people that I know have used this. And you can set it for after like 60 days, the messages will auto delete. And that sounds like fairly sort of non-malice, sort of nefarious business practice, really. And that's what Zak Brown's kind of said it was. But I think Alex Palau's camp are making out that they've deleted stuff and he's telling people to delete stuff on purpose. So there may have been a message saying, Oscar, you're definitely having an F1 drive. Definitely having an F1 drive, but that's not a contract. Even if he had said that, that's not a contract. And I don't think you can really go to court saying, well, he said I could.
I'm with you. So if there's some evidence that really they never intended to give Palau the seat, but they really hinted to him that if he did the things they wanted him to, that they would, then that is, even then, isn't that just like a fair part of business negotiation and you've been fooled a little? I don't know. Like, what's legal? Like, is it illegal to trick someone? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the ins and outs and the details of him. It may have been a bit more nefarious than that. But when you're defending a case, and I've seen this, I've done jury duty before, and you sit in court, like a good tactic of people when they're trying to get around things is to discredit the people you're trying to attack and get around and basically call into question their integrity and stuff like that. So this is a perfect tactic to do that, saying, oh, look, they're deleting stuff, so they clearly got something to hide.
Yeah, and I'm also not a lawyer. I haven't done jury duty either, but people get out of contracts they've signed and during race seats while they're kind of currently racing. It's not unusual that they want to kind of pull someone in to kind of do reserve driver, be an IndyCar driver with the promise. I'm sure he's not the first, he will not be the last. Even people that are currently racing in F1 will have clauses to get out and kind of be pushed out. It's not hard.
I can't help feeling that this is slightly an own goal. Obviously, McLaren as a group, if they want to go after 20 million, which I think is what they're suing for, then that's a significant chunk of change. However, is it worth this kind of publicity coming out? Like, if this was Red Bull, they would sign it off and they would just, we'll pay Palau 3 million to go away. It would be that kind of thing, wouldn't it? Because that's what a lot of teams do. But yeah, with this dirty laundry being aired, the more interesting thing for us as F1 fans has been the reaction from the Piastri camp. So moving away from Palau now, the Aussies are going mad over this news story, and there's an increasing drumbeat of, and I hesitate to use the term, but of victim mentality. And so as the gap is coming down, it's almost like Piastri fans have already decided that they're going to lose this championship and that it's for bad reasons. So that's the sense I'm getting, Meg.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could, if you try to put yourself in the kind of Piastri fans' mindset, especially after Singapore, where kind of this idea of balance and how McLaren want to be balanced and all that jazz, it just isn't, it's impossible in F1. And I hate, it feels a bit corporate racing, and you kind of feel so, you can see why they're upset, because it's very much, they're trying to throw stones at different sides of the scales and they simply can't balance it. But at the same time, it's just difficult, isn't it? It's, you cannot find balance in F1, and that's what really, I think, annoys me as a fan, not even a kind of Piastri fan.
I'm still getting over Singapore and
I'm not over it.
Their unhappiness with that, because here's something I've not heard anybody say. What if McLaren had gone, yeah, that move was over the line, swap back? I think it would have been even more outrageous. Like, it would have been unprecedented in F1. Like, yeah, you did overtake, but you did kind of touch your teammate. No damage. You did overtake, but no, because you banged wheels, swap, papaya rules. That would have been insane.
Well, yeah, that's the problem that they've created here, is they've created a situation where the most minor thing is kind of like a different sides on a chalkboard, and no one, the driver's getting frustrated. But if they then went in and said, please swap, that's not fair, we would get even more angry. So we're then creating this cycle of just annoyance for everyone involved.
Yeah, so apparently, like, obviously all Piastri fans, and Heraclius says, I think Monza started it, not really Singapore. And apparently, yeah, the Piastri camp really, really unhappy about Monza, and this is with the swap round after the pit stop.
Yeah.
From McLaren's point of view, they'd neutralized the race, and they said, we're going to do this thing that we wouldn't normally do. We're going to give up the other pit stop, but if there's an undercut, there won't be an undercut. I promise there won't be an undercut. There was an undercut, so they swapped it back. And you kind of go, oh, I can see how that sticks, but Piastri wasn't really sort of in that race for that position. So, okay, I get why they're upset at that. But you had, I don't want to name names. Okay, no. Peter Windsor.
Name names.
Peter Windsor gave an opinion. So Peter Windsor gave an opinion on a podcast where he said, yeah, they are favouring Lando Norris because in Singapore you had the ridiculous situation that Norris was able to dictate Piastri's pit strategy. And I thought this was a little disingenuous, and I wonder if he really believes this. So he was saying, yeah, they asked him, when should Piastri pit? That's insane. Why? Well, we've never had a driver dictate another driver's pit strategy. Right? Just to be clear on that, it is really common between teams that if you're doing your plan A normal pit strategy, the lead car will have the priority for the first pit stop, which is normally the priority because then you get your new tyres first, so it's better. You avoid the undercut. You get a chance to undercut on the cars ahead of you. It's normally the preferred one. Obviously, if they want to do vastly different strategies, I believe they are entitled to do so. But that is not the case that every time Piastri is going to have a pit stop, they ask Norris for his permission. They were saying, do you want to give up your pit spot that you have got from as being the lead driver to help out Piastri? And he went, yeah. Oh, no, wait. F1 title, no. Kyle, sorry.
This is the exact scenario as in what happened in Monza and why they swapped it. It was Norris being, inverted commas, kind to Piastri, giving up, foregoing his advantage to pit, and letting Piastri sort of have the advantage there to protect him from behind. And then McLaren, the team, made a mistake themselves, and that's why they flipped it, which I think was fair enough. I think that's fair enough. And again, in Singapore, I think Peter Wimser's missing out a crucial bit of context here. Yeah, they asked Norris, okay, do you want to give up your freebie, essentially, your earned freebie? And he didn't, and he's only in that position because he put a rough but ultimately fair move on his teammate. Yes, there was a bit of contact, and that was because of reasons, because he tapped Verstappen in front. It wasn't malicious or anything. It's racing. Get over it. And saying that they're favouring Norris, I think, is insane in that bit. It's removing all context and taking it as a complete black and white sort of thing, and it's really frustrating because it's just, again, that pours fuel onto the already toxic fire of F1 fandom online.
I can read the YouTube comments now. I'm sorry. I just know someone right now is typing glazing in some context. So I'm just like, EJ says, isn't this the Singapore overtake was quite similar to the one in Monza last year, except Piastri didn't back out like Lando did. I just want to go back to Monza 2024, search for Norris Piastri for that move and see how tightly Norris turns into that left-hander in the chicane to make sure there's no contact with Piastri. I think that's a key difference. Sorry, Meg, interrupt.
Yeah, I mean, that's Kyle's got it bang on. It's that this wouldn't be an issue, and that was a perfectly fine opening lap in Singapore had they not have this papaya rules. And then in Oscar's head, he's going into it thinking, I've been knocked into, that's key rule number one. That's why then he's reacting the way, and then the fans then spirals like that, and suddenly we're going down an avalanche, and everyone's angry.
Anger, yes.
Yeah.
In Oscar's defense, the slight offense, like if I was Oscar, I would also be angry on the radio. Yeah, it's heat of the moment. From his point of view, it looks like he has just been absolutely battered out of the way, barged, harpooned by his teammate, and had no other option. I'm sure once he saw that back afterwards,
I'd
had
love
time to calm down
I'd love to know.
and would be like, okay, it's fair enough. But this is what happens when you get online fandom. And I'm not slamming the Piastri fan group. I'm going to slam all fan groups now, and I'm going to call them out. So we've got the LH Loons, we've got the Orange Plague, the Alonsolistas, the Alonsolites, we've got the Leclercists, we've got the Norrigistas, and now we've got the Piastriati, all going mental online. And this is what happens when you're solely focused on one person, and it turns into an echo chamber online, and they start, and it's just it's this constant perpetual game of one-upmanship and then people mudslinging. And to be honest, Webber, I think, from one of the comments I've seen you put in there, is not helping the situation at all.
Oh, we'll get to the Webber comments, but now we have to say which is the worst of those fan bases you mentioned.
I was waiting to say those names, excellent. I want to go through them.
So which is the worst of those fan bases, and why is it the Alonso fan base?
The Alonsolites, they're awful. Sorry.
Yeah. And the best ones are Team LH, of course. So Webber comments. Who's over that? Meg.
Basically, I've got them up here somewhere. He's gone dropping quotes, hinting at this kind of Ferrari kind of future in his head. I love the best bit is that in the meantime, it would be better if he improved his Italian. Weber saying that about kind of Oscar Piastri.
Man, you can't be doing
bold.
That.
This man is so traumatized by his time at Red Bull.
I was going to say, yeah.
He is living PTSD that right now he's basically back in where he was and he's reliving those moments.
So for those who weren't watching at the time, between 2009 and 2013, Mark Webber was the champion Sebastian Vettel's, four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel's teammate. And there was the slow dawning realization that he was the number two, that he didn't get priority on parts and team orders. Sebastian Vettel got his front wing, literally taken off Mark Webber's car, put on
Multi-21.
Yeah, and Multi-21 as well, where they had agreed to hold position, and Sebastian Vettel just ignored that, and the team, I don't think, backed him up. Well, they did say to Seb, stop being silly, Christian Horner.
Don't be silly.
Stop being silly, Seb. Stop being so naughty.
You naughty boy.
But you have this realization, that he was the number two driver. And after 2010, that kind of challenge faded away and he was unable to keep up. It was, not too dissimilar to what Perez saw, where Perez was a little competitive to start with, was winning races, and then kind of disappeared out of contention. And so Webber's the cautionary tale of getting stuck as the number two. And Ricciardo probably looked at that and went, escape, we don't want to be Mark Webber. Why this keeps happening to Australians, I don't know.
I mean, that's a good point, to be fair.
I mean, they have a point. I mean, the Webber situation, I think that was 2010 Silverstone, wasn't it? When they had a new front wing. He didn't actually like the new front wing. And then he Vettel broke his, and Vettel said he liked it. So there was a tiny bit of extra context around there, but it was a bit out of order. And then with the famous line of "not bad for a number two driver" on the radio at the end, which is absolutely classic. But Webber was actually, I think a lot of people forget this, Webber was actually probably in the number one driving seat for that World Championship up to like 2 rounds to go. And it was his mistake in the Korean Grand Prix when he binned it on the opening lap. And he was still in pole position. Going into the final round, he was still arguably the favourite going in, and got stitched up a bit with the bad Alonso strategy as well. Basically, I think Ferrari responded to them, and it all went wrong. And Vettel led the championship for the first time when he crossed the line to win the championship.
And also there was Turkey as well in 2010 with the two coming together.
Oh, yes, and they're coming together, and they backed Seb, and that was clearly Sebastian Vettel's fault. Yeah. And so you cannot blame Webber and the Aussies for getting angry about that, because, look, it's Red Bull, which I believe is quite a toxic environment under that previous sort of management, and they have their golden boys, and they have proven it. And Vettel was the golden boy. Max is the golden boy now. Yeah. So Webber, he did have a victim mentality, but you have to say he did have grounds to have that, like big time. Well, I think it was pretty valid.
Yeah, and I think as well, like he sees what the outcome is, and I think that once you've lost a championship head on, people don't remember the loser, and you will constantly be like, that's your label. You will be number two, and people will expect that from you going forward in your career. I think that completely. He wants to stop this happening for his client, because once this championship ends, the person that comes out on top, they're going to have that. It's just, it's inevitable. It's sport. It's horrible.
There's a lot at stake, isn't there, for these two drivers?
It is.
You don't want to be Norris that's stuck with the whole McLaren thing when Sainz got signed for Ferrari, but you're there. I'm sure Norris had offers along the way, but you've been there from the ground up with that car in the bottom half, and then suddenly it's a championship winning team, and then you lose out to the newer teammate. That kind of makes the team head-to-head battles in his career start to look bad. So you kind of go, well, Sainz actually was probably arguably a bit better stronger than Norris when they were together at McLaren. He's managed to be a bit stronger than Ricciardo, or significantly stronger than Ricciardo, but then ultimately gets beaten by Piastri. That's bad for his career. That's bad for his reputation. Like, who's going to take Norris? Ferrari aren't going to come knocking for Norris after that.
No, they're not. And Webber very heavily inferring that Piastri might be looking over there, which is lunacy, by the way. But Norris,
we'll get on to Ferrari later. Don't worry.
Like Norris, if he hadn't have put that move on Oscar at Singapore, we probably would have been criticising him for being too soft. He's always been very soft versus his teammates. And you rightly pointed out, Monza last year, he was incredibly soft. And we've slammed him on this podcast. I think I'm sitting there slamming him.
Yeah, lap one, way too cautious on lap one.
Yeah, lap one, cautious. So, and now he's not. And now everyone's sort of criticising him for it. I think it's gloves off now. It's team, they're both going for their first championship. It's absolutely brilliant. But I think Meg is absolutely spot on right. All of this ag is all caused by this silly corporate style racing. It is very, very annoying. And it's going to take one of them to overstep the mark, and it's all going to go out the window, and they're just going to start ignoring team orders like Red Bull, like the Multi-21. We need our McLaren, like Papaya Multi-21. It would be great.
Here's my fear for the Aussies, for Mark Webber, because it almost sounds like he's a little bit in open warfare. So it doesn't sound like he's having chummy dinners with the management. If he's saying things like, it would be better if he improved his Italian, how helpful is that? So what you're gambling on with that mentality is that McLaren would be so scared to lose Piastri that the threat of, hey, we might be looking at Ferrari, makes them buck up their ideas and correct what he perceives to be an imbalance. If you're McLaren, though, and you think, like, we genuinely are trying to make the best decisions and the fairest decisions at every point, then that kind of comment puts you at loggerheads. It puts you at odds, and you start going, wow, guys, actually, it's a bit of a pain to deal with Mark Webber. When we were trying our best, and now we're getting these comments in the public, and the fan base is kind of getting after us. Maybe we should kind of hitch our wagon to Norris a little bit. And I will reiterate, I'm not making any accusations, but I think that fudging it in a team for one driver to do slightly better than another driver, for one incredibly talented driver to get a slightly better result than another incredibly talented driver, is trivial. It's easy and has many precedents, and I think F1 teams have done it for 75 years, favoured one driver over the other. I'm worried about the Mark Webber strategy of going, right, I'll publicly go toe-to-toe with the McLaren management.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're bang on. I think if you're sat in a kind of office in McLaren, if you've got kind of this is causing headaches,
Yeah, yeah.
you're gonna go, oh, what a shame, he has to
Mm.
leave. We've got one really good driver. We could get another okay driver that kind of keeps up with our kind of top boy, but not quite. And I think it'll be interesting going forward now that they've won the constructors. I wonder if this kind of corporate style of racing, as kind of labeling it now, will just end, and maybe we can just get some kind of regular kind of racing, because they've not got the kind of constructors sponsorship element
To
to
worry
think
about,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, the constructors' money is in the bag, essentially, but I think they really want the prestige of the drivers, and they're a bit worried about Verstappen sort of wobbling through and winning it when they're tripping over each other. But Webber's essentially just lobbing grenades from the side, isn't he? It's not helping anything. He's just sitting there lobbing grenades, and he's doing basically what Jos Verstappen does. Makes very unhelpful, sort of very sort of loaded, sort of snipey comments from the side,
But
and
it's
that
worked.
doesn't really.
It's worked for Verstappens. The Verstappens, they've done all
Yeah,
right.
but they've won already. He's already had a drivers' championship before he got a wee bit snippy.
Yeah, but they were doing that
Yeah.
kind of thing, like advocating for
Yeah.
him over Sainz, advocating for him over Ricardo, and it kind of worked. So maybe Webber's doing that same thing.
I don't
Never
know.
been
Is
a
Webber
sports
doing
agent.
like the kind of drunk parent at like a kid's softball match or something, shouting at the side, and they're like, stop it, like, Dad, please stop it.
Dad, you're embarrassing me. Stop.
Mac, please, no, Mark, please, no. Oh,
Dad,
no.
it's embarrassing. Stop it.
Gigi makes a good point here. Do we even know whom Webber made the comments to relearning Italian, because it wasn't clear to me? Yeah, this is not a well-sourced thing from me. So if it turns out like it was an AI-generated comment, I'm sorry. It's like I have definitely just read it off Twitter. Like, I don't know if anyone else has get like a better.
Well, it must be
source.
true then.
Yeah, perpetually online. So maybe the accusations, are true. Okay. Slightly moving on then. Some comments here. Patrick in our Patreon Discord, patreon.com/MrApex said, what has happened with Piastri? Is the pressure finally getting to him? That's an interesting question, panel. I got the feeling that, once it was, his championship to lose, things have changed.
No. I think it's just, he's barely put a foot wrong. Apart from going off in the rain and his home Grand Prix at the start of the year, he hadn't really put a foot wrong. He'd been solid. It had been Norris making all the mistakes. Then he had his Baku.
Yeah.
People make mistakes. And now he basically got barged out a little bit at the start of Singapore.
And had no pace as well.
Nothing really's going on, but like it's tense and he's getting a bit angry. Like I like that he's getting a bit feisty now, because I've slagged him off quite a lot. But by the way, I'm going to put my stick my neck out here and say I am more in the Piastri camp than I am the Norris camp. I kind of want Piastri to win this, but he has got about as much pizzazz as a wet dishcloth, bless him. But I like it when he gets feisty. It gives him a bit more character, and I like it. So he's not cracking under the pressure. The pressure now is making him be a bit more forceful and a bit more angry when things don't go his way. And I like to see that. He's got passion. He wants it. Whereas before he was a bit too mild, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's just classic Gen Z, I think, as well, is that he's kind of, even when he gets angry, he reacts via memes and kind of callbacks to earlier F1, which is wild. But I think it was good to see, even though Silverstone didn't go his way, he obviously got the penalty. That's when I kind of saw the real kind of fire there, that there is something going up him that he could. I like seeing that. I think that it's good that he kind of is passionate about it, and we're seeing that come through. And I do think he handles the pressure well. I think that is something that he'll kind of really will take forward in the next few races. That maybe sometimes Norris is learning to kind of deal with the pressure better than he did at the start of the year too. So hopefully we take off the kind of corporate style and we actually see some good racing between the two of them, because they are good drivers. They're fighting for a championship.
Heraclea says, I asked if it was Italian, the source for the Webber quotes. He said, yes. I said, sorry about that. My views on the Italian media, F1 media, are public. They're a matter of public consumption. So, yes, they basically asked Mark about Piastri to Ferrari sometime in the future. So it was a leading question. But still, he did answer it. He did answer it in that way. So I think that does lead us probably to Ferrari. Oh, no, one more comment, sorry, from Chris G. I reckon Max will win 2025 F1 Championship drivers and McLaren are going to implode. No. In many ways, for McLaren, Max winning the championship is the absolute best case scenario, because then they don't have this situation where one of their drivers lost the World Championship. Yay, we get to talk about Ferrari, which never used to be an issue for me. A lot of times for previous seasons, when it was Ferrari time, that was like my time for a break. And I would just put up on the screen, I'd put everyone up on the screen like this, and I'd leave Matt there, and I'd go off, and then I'd come back, and I'd be hearing, Ferrari, blah, blah, blah. Why the hell did they do that? I don't know. I don't know why they did that. And I don't know why they always do that. And then I go, okay, great, on to happier news. And that was how it went. Well, obviously, Lewis Hamilton is there now. There's still support for Lewis. I've got my 44 cap in the background. Earlier at the zoo, I saw a kid. He had the Ferrari 44. And I went, get in there, Lewis. And he went, yeah, get in there, Lewis. And his dad went, he looked at me, pointed at me, and he went, correct opinion. I went, oh, okay, good. So there's still passion. And now I have to care about Ferrari's results. So I end up having an opinion about Fred Vasseur. And can he lift Ferrari to the top? Is there the structure to actually make a challenging Grand Prix car that is legal? And here's the thing that's bothered me most, Kyle, is the inference that Vasseur had a heated discussion with an engineer, and the engineer was unhappy with Leclerc, in my opinion, correctly calling the Ferrari undrivable.
That's crazy. I mean, that just shows there's not a great atmosphere on the inside, and this is sort of prolific with Ferrari over the years. Everyone knows it's a hotbed of politics and bureaucracy inside. Now, I think there's a bit of a link here. I remember sitting on the Hungary review show about the thing here, and I absolutely slammed Hamilton because he got his head down and he made some really weird comments saying there's a lot of stuff going on in the background that people don't realise. And a few weeks earlier, he'd been very happy and go-lucky and saying, look, I've made like a document for them. I've given them loads of advice of how to move forward.
It's okay, guys. I've solved it. I've solved Ferrari. I did them a document.
I've made a Google Doc. It's
going to be okay. It worked for George Russell.
Exactly. But I think this has come in. But we've seen this for years and years and years, that like Ferrari are very resistant to change. And I think Lewis has come in there. He's come from the winning machine of Mercedes and see how the processes work. And he's gone into Ferrari. And this is just me sort of putting two and two together and getting seven. Basically, I think Lewis said, look, you need to correct this. Like the engineering departments need to work in this structure in this way. And they've basically told him to swivel, basically, and said it's not happening. And that's why he was so unhappy when it went wrong. And that's what he was referring to. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background. I basically think they said, no, it's a mess of politics. And I don't think Fred Vasseur has had time to deal with it and fix it. I like Fred, but we've seen over the years with Ferrari, they've had the guillotine style of management system where they're not immediately successful and heads start rolling immediately, and there's not much continuity. So it's deep rooted. This is like a tale near the end of time. The Barnard, the early 90 years with Prost. Prost got sacked for calling it a tractor, remember, and stuff like that back in the day. Yeah. This is classic Ferrari, and it's just history's repeating itself, and it's playing out again. So I think Leclerc is absolutely justified in his criticisms of Ferrari. I think Vasseur has to maybe change the inherent internal politics at Ferrari, which seems an almost impossible job.
Yeah, I mean, as well, I think the thing with Ferrari is that it's called we all call it a doom cycle, don't we? It's that a cycle is supposed to come back around to success, and we haven't seen that. And it's just, it's becoming a bit of a joke. And then when you come with Leclerc is concerned, he's not a kid anymore. He's one of the older drivers, which kind of is a bit
28?
funny to think. He's 28. Like he's on the kind of, we've got 6 rookies this year that are kind of a lot of babies that are on there, like teenagers. And Leclerc's one of the more mature ones. And it's getting to the point where if he is serious about winning a world championship, is it going to be somewhere else when he's made Ferrari his whole brand and Ferrari isn't really doing much for him now? But then again, if they can't win, if Ferrari can't win with Leclerc, someone that's kind of lived, breathed, bled Ferrari for the past however many years, who can they do it? Who's going to kind of have that passion that he has if he's kind of seeing it? Lewis Hamilton.
That's a good point, Meg, because Leclerc was Ferrari born and bred. And I remember years ago, Leclerc actually got rid of his girlfriend, didn't he? Because he said he was committing himself to Ferrari. So he got rid of his girlfriend at the time. And that was a true thing. He said, sorry, we can't be together because I'm fully devoting myself to Ferrari. So he was like Ferrari all the way through.
No, that sounds like an excuse. There was something else wrong with her. There was something else. I reckon she had like milk. She had milk breath, but he just like couldn't say that.
I'm too committed to Ferrari, ladies. No. It's not happening.
Nothing to do with your milk breath, love. No. It's Ferrari.
It's not me. It's not you. It's the team. It's the
team. Yeah. I live and I breathe Ferrari. If I'm going to win a championship, it's going to be with Ferrari. But he's even losing faith if he's saying if 2026 isn't the car that he needs.
We'll circle back to Leclerc in a second, but with that engineering comment, it is worrying if you can't speak ill of a car that is very clearly failing. So it's a car where you have to lift and coast from lap 2, 4,000 meters from you can't even just hit the brakes. And when you do hit the brakes, because you've got a good set of tires and you go charging for a P5, by the way, a P5, not charging for the win, charging for P5, the brakes completely fail. The car's not working. So the car's not drivable. Leclerc is correct. And you can't keep going out there and saying, well, you've got to lie in interviews and go, this car, where one car, the brakes failed charging for P5 and the other one finished P6, it's brilliant. It's
best car ever.
Yeah, best car ever. It's if anything, it's me.
It was me, guys. Yeah, I did it.
I'm just awful at driving an F1 car, apparently. So you go, no, you've got to be honest a little bit in the media and go, yeah, we can't get the results out of this car. It's very, very worrying that engineers, they should be the ones beating themselves up. They should look at that and go, why have we got LICO? Why have we got lift and coast so early? Like, this is an awful concept.
One of the stories from back in the day inside Ferrari when it was really bad, where there's a lot of, and you see this, I was just about to say I see this in my own situation, but I'm not going to say that. You see this in big companies. There's a lot of self-preservation goes on, and I think there's a lot of finger pointing going. So I think there's a lot of people say, no, it's the chassis side. And apparently quite a thing for Ferrari used to be that the engine department always used to blame the chassis department always used to blame the engine department, and they both used to blame the aero blamed both of them, and it's this culture of finger pointing, right? And it's not very conducive to producing a good car. But what was the only team that did a revolution of a design rather than an evolution of a design this year with 1 year left in the rule set? That was Ferrari.
Yeah.
They went from a push rod to a pull rod on the front. They made fundamental changes to their concept, and I think they've just simply got it wrong.
Yeah.
They put it all out there to try to make a huge risk to try and give Lewis Hamilton a real championship winning car to come in it, and to be on it, it's been a failure. It's been a total failure.
So they're like the win or bin of engineering. Just quickly on that toxic environment. Mercedes was successful during all that time. I think they had this no blame culture where, okay, look, if you've identified that you've done something wrong, just go, I think I've gone down the wrong path. Okay, great. That's part of the process. If you identify that a thing you thought didn't turn out to be good, but no, Ferrari is much more like my marriage. If you do something wrong, just double down and just say it was the other person until you're blue in the face, and then vodka. So I think that's the route that Ferrari have gone down. And there's this talk of this vertical management structure where you can have departments yelling at each other like, no, it's got to be top down. So is Vasseur the person to get a grip of these departments and say, no, you are reporting to me. I am asking you to deliver this thing, and you deliver this thing, and you deliver this thing, and all in the round, that becomes a competent race car with working suspension, this much downforce points, and this ability to be repaired, this ability to be shipped, all that kind of entire logistic solution. Is Vasseur the kind of manager that can do that? Because what has been happening in the last 10 years, and let's remember that Ferrari have not produced a legal championship contending car since 1987, since 2008, and look at the times they have been competitive in that time. Bonotto, with the alleged fuel flow, that was the closest they got, and I think, are they always, Kyle, looking for that? We're looking for the magic bullet instead of a complete...
The silver bullet.
Yeah.
Ish. How long has Vasseur been in the role? It's been 2 years.
Not that long, season? From Sauber.
Right, it's not long. Think back to the early 90s where Jean Todt come into Ferrari, which was a hot mess of politics, everything. And Jean Todt come in and he brought a more, how do I say this without hurting all of Italy? He brought a different style with him. He brought different engineers. He brought Ross Brawn. He got Ross Brawn to come over. He got Schumacher in. That took him a good few years to iron out the rot and to get it straight. And eventually, when it did finally come good, it took him years. And when it finally did come good, they were a steamrolling winning machine. And I think going into 2008, that was still off the kind of the back of that. And since that's all kind of crumbled, they've slipped back into being the old team that they were again. So I think they need to give Vasseur a good 3-4 years to try to straighten things out, because these things do not happen overnight.
No, you're right. No, because you're not a Hamilton fan. So you're saying, oh yeah, let's wait until Hamilton's retired.
I am a Hamilton fan. I'm just objective. I'm just not an obsessive.
No, Kyle, no. You are a Schumacher fan. There's no way. The type of people who are Schumacher fans are not Hamilton fans now. That's not how
I
that
like
works.
greatness. I'm also a Verstappen fan. I quite like Verstappen.
Yeah, that makes more sense. The people who are Schumacher fans are also Verstappen
No, but
fans
I'm a
now.
massive Lewis fan. I'm a
You're
massive Lewis
not.
fan. I followed his entire career.
way.
I followed his entire career in 2021. Did you see some of my tweets from 2021? I went viral slamming Christian Horner and everything.
that's
Accidentally
fair.
viral. Never doing that again.
Yeah.
But I am very much a Hamilton fan, but I say it as I see it, and I'm objective, and I will call him out when he has been a little bit underwhelming. And unfortunately, more often than not, I sit on the show and have to call him out. I am not afraid to call out my heroes.
Yeah. No, Carl's a hater. Confirmed. Yeah. Going accidentally viral on Twitter is horrible. Because you do a little tweet like, "Oh, I think this lovely thing," and your followers go, "Yeah, I agree," or "Oh, I disagree respectfully in this way." And you go, "Oh, that's quite a good point." And if it accidentally goes viral, you just get people going, "You're the worst human being that's ever lived." And it's a crazy experience if you ever accidentally get that. But Leclerc. So, is Leclerc a one-to-way driver? Is he right to be a one-to-way driver? So Aaron in our Patreon Discord says, is Leclerc going to have to escape to have any chance in his career of a genuine title chance? And if so, where could he go?
Well, that's it. Where does he go when he is so known for that red?
Might be a seat in McLaren to do a quick swap.
So true.
Yeah. You better learn. What do they speak in Milton Keynes?
Yeah, Woking. What are they doing in there?
Hang on. Where's McLaren based?
Woking.
Yeah, Woking.
Oh, right. Okay. Whoops.
MTC.
Yeah.
I just have got into this habit of assuming that they are all in Milton Keynes.
All in Milton Keynes. They all live on a street.
Yeah. There's kind of that roundabout where basically you can go to either Red Bull this way or So I actually think Leclerc is in a poor position because I still genuinely believe, you can argue with me if you want, if they come out with this great 2026 car and it's a championship contender, it will be the car that Lewis wants, and I just think they'll favour Lewis. They paid 450 million space bucks. So he's in a poor position at Leclerc from the second, at Ferrari from the second they signed Hamilton, and so that's not good for him. But Mercedes is right there, and I just think if I was Leclerc, maybe just be bold. Russell still doesn't have a contract. Just go.
They clearly don't care enough about George Russell, who won Singapore, to sign a contract. Yeah. And they're clearly not wanting to offer him a kind of long-term contract and have the faith in him. They're their own junior that they've kind of had from the early series right up until now. They're not putting the time in. Leclerc could just give Toto a message and say, there's clearly not a contract signed. I'd be up for a conversation.
The problem with that is all of them, and the problem Leclerc and Russell and everyone has, and Piastri, is no team boss is going to make any decision until Verstappen makes his mind up.
100%.
Like, he is the pivotal thing. Until Verstappen decides where he's going, they're all going to hang on the chance, because you would just hang on for the chance to get Max. So Toto is not going to sign George or anyone, even if there's a sniff to try to get Max. And that's why I think he's trying to bully George into just getting a one-year deal, because they've invested too much for Antonelli and they want Max. So they are never going to take a wild Leclerc showing up, with his bags on his back saying, "I've left her finally. Like, can you take me?" And they're going to be like, "No."
That's then rough for Kimi Antonelli as well. There, like, Toto is so insistent on making right on this kind of decision that he made to not have him do F3 and skip right to F2 and be slightly underwhelming, which is to be expected because he is a rookie driver in a top team. It's going to be a hard adjustment, but Toto so wants this decision to be the right one and not be proved wrong that he'll kind of try to hang on to him as best he can.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. I had not thought about the fact that if you take on Leclerc now, you are ruining your chances of getting Verstappen, aren't you? Because you're not going to get Leclerc on a one-year deal. You're going to have to get him in on a multi-year deal. It's going to cost you a lot as well. So he's going to be a high salary driver. Yeah, that's really interesting. Tim Rudd says Leclerc met the devil at the crossroads, sold his soul to drive a Ferrari. The price was to perpetually scream down the radio every time victory is snatched away from him. No, I don't think so. Like, he was a Ferrari driver through and through, wasn't he? He was a Sauber driver as well. Like, that was his destiny, was to go and lead the Tifosi.
Yeah, he had the Sauber. There was also in GP2. Was it GP2 or was it F2 at the time? Where he was with Prima and he was Ferrari sponsored all the way through there, because it was Jules Bianchi who was the golden Ferrari boy, and of course after unfortunately what happened to him, then it was Leclerc that sort of went in. But I don't know, there's a weird little quip, like Ferrari said unto Charles, "Come forth and receive eternal life in a championship," but Ferrari messed up the car. He come fifth and won a toaster instead. How Ferrari is that?
EJ, it says, could we see a Leclerc for Antonelli switch between Ferrari and Merc? Ferraris would love an Italian at the wheel of one of their cars. No, and I think from what Meg said there, Wolf is doubling down on Antonelli. I think, I made the point a little while back is actually Total Wolf does not have a great reputation yet for I brought on this great driver. So like Hamilton wasn't his, and Russell is, and so Antonelli's his first. Oh, he lost out on Verstappen. So Antonelli's his first, like he's the first Wolf youth coming through.
No, I'm not sure as well how much Ferrari want Kimi Antonelli after he took out Charles Leclerc a few races ago as well. So I'm not sure how sold the Italians are to take him back quite yet.
And then Ahmed asks, has Fred Vasseur got the strength of personality to drive through institutional change at Ferrari? So there was some interesting comments from the Ferrari senior management, and Ferrari's stock recently took a plunge. I don't think it's anything to do with Formula One necessarily, but the Ferrari, I guess, group CEO, Benedetto, I don't know how to say Italian names, Benedetto Vigna said, last time we made a commitment to win races, we succeeded with the 499p in endurance. Okay, fine, endurance. Yeah, we get it. We all care about Formula One. But in Formula One, we have to improve. We have to win. We owe it to our loyal fans all over the world. And then John Elkin just followed up with just word salad. Ferrari is unique and is in 3 dimensions: tradition, technology, and racing. The perfect combination of these 3 souls defines Ferrari racing, a story that began on track almost 100 years ago. 100 years of Ferrari defines who we are. I want to be clear. This is a personal matter. What are you saying?
What does that mean? Yeah. That is a PR-trained answer to distract anyone that's listening.
That was like a Rick and Morty answer. 100 years of Elkin and Ferrari. 100 years. Hamilton. We'll put him in cryo.
There's one problem with their comments there. They've won sort of Le Mans and in endurance racing, but there's a distinction between endurance racing and Formula One. There's no bop in Formula One. There's balanced performance in endurance racing, so they can tweak the performance of the cars however they like. The long gone are the days of the FIA being Ferrari international assistants. Doesn't seem so anymore. So they need to win fair and square now. And I don't think they necessarily did in endurance racing.
A couple of short stories to end on. So I came away from the Singapore Grand Prix going, well, that was a race that happened. And then as you sort of look back and look at the highlights, you went, well, there was so much action. There was so many things going on, and we never saw any of it. But I could now identify all the girlfriends of F1 drivers in a lineup, which I never could at any other point in F1 history. So, Meg, Sainz came up with the big criticism of it, saying that we never saw the action. Like, that was possibly one of the worst F1 broadcasts I've ever seen.
Oh, I mean, completely. It's impressive as well, because I will watch sometimes in the house, I will have friends over watch F1. Even the fans that don't know F1 will be able to name Carlos Sainz's girlfriend because she's shown every week. And it's very impressive that she could do that, but not name the kind of drivers that are actually over. Like, you do see them a lot. And I want to see all these overtakes that I'm missing and have to go and watch in the highlights. It then becomes a second job that I have to do when I should have just been able to watch it during the race.
Yeah.
So, it is super annoying because I was actually cooking a roast dinner while I was watching the race as well, and I was paying good attention to it. I had it there, but from the actual broadcasted footage, the race was about as exciting as Oscar Piastri in a library. Oh, it didn't come across very, very exciting at all. But then when, as Meg said, you watch all these overtakes and stuff on the highlights, it was absolutely amazing. It's absolutely abysmal. And I think I put it down to, I think it's the modern trend, isn't it? People's short attention spans. You can't just show the thing you're supposed to be showing. You have to clip, try to make it glamorous, try to show someone and try to show the crowd and everything. And yeah, I think it's a very bad trend. But that was arguably the peak of it, apart from the Monaco broadcast that time where they switched from the only overtake of the race to watch a slow-mo of Lance Stroll go through the swimming pool section.
Also, well, it was Lance Stroll like hitting the curb a tiny bit, wasn't it?
Brushing the barrier.
Wow.
I think that was it.
So good.
I know, crazy. But like we had for Singapore, where overtaking is hard. We had a charging Alonso, and we had a charging Lewis Hamilton as well. So Alonso was doing overtakes. We had Hamilton cutting down this, like a driver cutting down a lead or a gap by 2-3 seconds a lap is really dramatic. and we just didn't get to see any of it. And we didn't see any of the stuff with the brakes failing. And I don't think in real time we saw Alonso absolutely losing it. And, oh, by the way, that's so funny. So you won't know this if you're American, but there was a TV program called One Foot in the Grave about a guy who retired, Victor Meldrew. And his big catchphrase was, "I don't believe it!" Every single way. "I don't believe it." And Hamilton posted an Instagram clip of Victor Meldrew. "I don't believe it," to slam Alonso. And Hadjar called him called him grumpy, which he was. But that's all good drama. And I don't think we really saw that in real time. So, yeah, definitely the broadcasters dropped the ball there. And Antonio had a TikTok pointing out like whose fault that is. I won't play the bumper, but really pointing out that all the broadcasters, all the OTPs, over the top broadcasters, get the same feed. They can put their own graphics on, but they will get the camera positions that are given to them. So this was a core decision to kind of favor that. And you go, well, okay, you do need to break the action up. There has always been crowd shots. There has always been who's the celebrity in the garage to a certain extent. I feel like this one has crossed over the line. And then the extra added element is that now the girlfriends and the partners of the F1 drivers have their own social media. This is a world where they actively court their own social media. So I doubt they're particularly unhappy with the amount of screen time they've had, and maybe their agents are talking to the broadcasters as well and saying, hey, this person is going to be in the garage at this particular time. So it feels like I bet everyone at the time went, we're doing this for the right reasons.
It's also a bit of a push, I think, from Liberty and everyone else to try to extra glamour. They're just trying to put stuff in and try to make it more relevant, more social media, more people, like you say, trying to get these personalities in and say, look how cool F1 is. Look at all these people are here. This is super cool. Like when was it? A few years ago, I think, when I first saw it coming, I think it was Matt Damon or someone was in the paddock, and they kept showing Matt Damon like every 5 minutes to see his reaction or something that was going on. And it's just like, oh my God, please stop showing stuff. But this isn't anything new.
Yeah, and Rowan Atkinson as well in the Mercedes garages. We kept seeing Rowan Atkinson.
Make all his space, brilliant. But this isn't anything new. I remember my mother used to be very irate when we were watching back in the late 90s, and they used to show Eija Häkkinen, Mika Häkkinen's wife, an awful lot. Yeah. And she goes, why do you keep showing me Mika Häkkinen's wife? I don't want to see Eija Häkkinen. Mika Häkkinen's boring enough. His wife's even more boring. My mum used to get like really, really upset about it. So this is nothing new, but it has ramped up by a good sort of 30-40%, I think.
Quick one though, when they have Lando Norris's mum there and they cut to Lando Norris's mum every few minutes, I feel like that's good content. Like, I feel like she realizes.
Oh, that woman's stressed constantly.
But she knows where the camera is, and she's like, yes, I feel this with
moment.
Me. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you go. Sorry, Kyle.
No, go on, mate.
No, I've got a boring story about Matt Damon that basically, if you struggle to see Matt Damon in a race weekend, if that's exciting, I'm from a very small town up north of Scotland, and they were filming the Odyssey there with Matt Damon, and he was going to the same gym with my dad. So every couple of days, I would get a selfie of Matt Damon with my dad. So if he can be seen in a small gym in a small northeast of Scotland, F1 paddock's boring.
That is really, really cool. But like the parent shots and everything can be done really, really well. And I'm going to squeeze my MotoGP reference in here. Earlier on at the French Grand Prix at Le Mans, Johan Zarco was going to win, a French rider, on an unfancied bike. And it was the first race his mum had ever attended. And his mum and his dad were in the garage. And the last few laps, they kept showing him. And the emotions from tears to just pure anxiety to pure horror and stress going through their heads. And that was even more interesting than what was happening on the track. So when it's done right, it's brilliant. And it definitely adds to it. But God. Formula One had just not got it right at all.
Well, I mean, Interlagos 2008, those
the Ferrari celebrations. Oh my God, yeah,
those delicious early Ferrari celebrations.
Yeah,
sorry,
just awful.
Not being very neutral there, but yeah, but I mean that was classic. And like, didn't one of the Ferrari engineers headbutt the wall in like anger when Hamilton came? And you go, well, we can't deny F1 history of those kind of shots. But then you have like the opposite of Bottas versus Hamilton at Silverstone, maybe in 2020, and they're going through Luffield, and they're like side by side through Luffield, and they go to a crowd shot of people cheering them on. Whoa! Yeah. What are you doing? It's a delicate balance. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, as an armchair broadcast producer, I would get it right, because you do have to break up the action a little bit and bring a little bit of the atmosphere. But yeah, I think everyone can agree that I think, Meg, that it went too far this time.
Yeah, I think so. I think that they've got the added element as well as that, and you touched on it earlier, that everyone's kind of creating a social media career off the back of these things, and it's so kind of interlinked with kind of how advertising and kind of their kind of influence. And you can see like when the posts come up on Instagram, and they do have kind of different girlfriends at different events. They're all kind of sponsored by the same kind of companies and all that jazz, and they're all kind of wearing, and it's all so interlinked. So there's probably someone is going right and shot to this company because there's kind of a little added thing, but it is annoying. And then you've got the thing on track where sometimes you see the little screen come up that such and such is chasing such and such for 20th, and I go, I don't care. I really don't care if such and such is fighting at the back for 19th and 20th. Yeah. That's nothing's happening right now there.
It is a good point, though, that brands are also linking up with these partners. They're not entirely passive, but I think people get the feeling that they're being objectified. So it's like, so the cameras are lingering on them, and that is something salacious in that.
The new thing as well is that they think that they've taken a massive step forward because it no longer just says such and such as partner. It sometimes will include their job title. So we're just getting that, which is great. That we're just about getting that. But it is very much lingering on this kind of, it does feel oddly sexist still.
Hey, baby steps. They did say Albon plays golf as well a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Alex Albon's partner also plays golf, but is still Alex Albon's partner as well. That'd be the only. They're trying, but we're not quite there.
The best one I saw was it was actually Jack Doohan in there, and Jack Doohan's dad, like it went to Mick Doohan, who is a 5 times consecutive MotoGP world champion and an unbelievable sportsman, and they just put in Jack Doohan's dad.
Jack's dad.
That's all they put in there. Jack's dad. It was like, oh my god, like you're in like motorsport royalty here. But I'm really hoping the massive backlash that I've seen everywhere about this will actually have a positive impact, and they will sort it out, because I agree with everything you guys have said. It's ridiculous.
When we did the Missed Apex Award for the Grand Prix review, the Discord chat, everyone just said TV direction, TV direction, TV direction. It's like the Singapore Grand Prix does not need any help in being underwhelming. So and someone else who doesn't need any help, Kyle, is Mohammed Ben Sulayem, the president of the FIA, who looks set for another storming victory.
Yeah, it looks like a sort of a rule determined landslide victory, maybe. Like, I don't understand the ins and outs of this, but I think if you're going to stand against him, you need to have your presidential role, and you need to have representation from everywhere, and he is the only one who meets the criteria.
You need to create a list of supporters, I think, Meg.
You need one. So basically the rules are, so the elections in December, they've got to kind of put in their final application to kind of officially run by end of this month. And to do that, you need to have a vice president selected from each of the 6 sports global nations, and there is only one from South America, which is, I feel like I'm saying a soap opera here, who is Fabiana Eccleston, Bernie Eccleston's wife. Dun dun dun, play the EastEnders theme song, and currently she sits in Camp Mohammed Ben Sulayem. So currently he's technically the only one that could possibly run, which seems totally, absolutely 100% fair.
The worst part of it is that how these local representatives get selected. Guess who has a massive role in deciding who is eligible? So they don't appoint it, but they do set the criteria for who can run. So they could say there could have been, we don't know, there could have been 20 applicants, and Fabiana is the only one who met whatever criteria that they've set.
100%. And it's a shame as well, because you look at the kind of field, I mean, from a female perspective as well, you've got 2 women that are running as well. And one of the youngest, Laura Villers, is the youngest person to ever run at 28, which is very cool. You've got journalist Virginia Filippo, I think, is running. So it's very cool that you've got such a mixed field, but that will mean nothing if this kind of is fixed in a certain way that only certain people can then have a candidacy. It's all very interesting and just quite funny, to be honest.
So from inside, does he know how bad that looks? I just wonder.
Think he cares.
Yeah,
I don't think he doesn't care.
No, most dictators don't.
Oh dear. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud?
I think you can be forgiven for thinking that the fix is in. It does look like a fix, and the lady you mentioned, Villas, is
Laura,
apparently threatening to sue. over this?
Yeah, she's got her teams on it apparently at the moment, and kind of really her lawyers are looking into exactly how she can run and to make sure that she is. So she's doing everything in her camp to make it possible. And it would be, it was very cool for her to run as a racing driver herself and kind of knows the ins and outs, especially from kind of a female coming up in the industry and knowing how hard that is. And she's got a lot of kind of really cool things that she wants to put forward if she is elected. But yeah, her lawyers are trying their best, and we can see how she gets on. But I'm not feeling optimistic.
No, I think because apparently like the time that they could then nominate new people who would be eligible to support them is October.
It's end of October, so they're very much on a crunch right now with sorting it out.
But they would have to propose it at the meeting, which is after the point that the deadline passes for applying to be
Seems
a
fair.
candidate with that. That very much seems like a stitch up to me, but that's just the opinion of one shed dweller. If you want the opinion of Megan Smith, you should go to
you should go to TikTok. I'll talk all about it. Megan Smith _motorsports. We can have a chat there, and we'll keep up to date on all these kind of fun things, anything racing related, really, or anything you want to chat about. I want to start doing lives as well, so if that be something you're interested in, we said that. I'm going to start doing it.
Let's do some. You can duel, can't you? You can do dueling.
Yeah,
lives.
apparently. We're going to do that, so you can join the chat there.
Experiment with me, perhaps during a practice session. We can do
Sounds good to me.
A dueling
Lovely
live
stuff.
as well. I will say, long-time listeners will know how horrific your username is to me and how much I am against underscores. So is it
so sorry.
Megan
We've
Smith
got time to change it.
_motorsport.
Yeah, basically, I think there's a lot of Megan Smith is quite a basic name. There are a lot of us. There was a good few in my tutor class at school.
It's quite a default name.
I have to
isn't it?
differentiate myself from the other Megans that are in motorsport.
If your name was a livery, it would be like red and white. It would just be like default.
Very much what I'm sporting right now. So
good point. It'll be NPC livery. The links to all Megan's stuff will be in the show notes below. We've got Kyle. Kyle, you're much more important to the project. Sorry, Meg. MotoGP. What's going on in MotoGP? How many races are left? How can people listen to your opinions?
I think there's about 5 races left. The championship is already wrapped up, but the story has been incredible. One of the greatest comebacks in sporting history has been complete, with Marc Marquez coming back from being a broken man, almost losing his arm, being written off by everybody, to dominating the championship this year, and then being punted out and breaking himself again last weekend. So the next race coming up, the guaranteed favourite is out. It's anybody's game. His teammate is struggling. The politics has sort of put the politics and the drama in MotoGP this year has kind of cast shade over F1, in my opinion, like of what's been going on, the heroism in the background. So you can keep up with all of that and listen to our regular race reviews by looking and following the show. It's Missed Apex MotoGP on YouTube. We get a video out and a race review every single week. We're going to be doing some off-season content as well. So if you go onto YouTube and give us a bit of a subscribe and a like and comment, and you can also send us some emails and feedback, and that's missedapexmoto@gmail.com. So if you go and check that out, it's Phillip Island this weekend coming in Australia.
Okay, cool.
Which is going to be absolutely amazing, and it's kind of on topic with the Aussies. So that's going to be really good. So go and watch that. We'll have our race review show out probably midweek for you. So go and check that out. And also, if you're new and thinking about coming over to the dark side of two wheels, Matt and I sat down and made an intro to MotoGP for the bike curious. So if you are a bit two-wheeled curious, you can come in and we explain MotoGP, the premise, what it's all about, and the excellent format it follows, which I wish Formula One would adopt. So come to the dark side and come and check out Two Wheels.
I'll put the link to that primer episode in there. And Kyle said to check out the YouTube. This is the perpetual fight internally within Missed Apex, because, you know, in many ways, that a lot of the production goes into the video side. It's probably the more complete product, but the audio side makes money. So subscribe to the YouTube, but please download as well in a podcast player. So search for Missed Apex Moto in your podcatcher of choice. Wherever you listen to Missed Apex podcast, make sure you subscribe. And we really need you to go and tell a friend and make sure that you're downloading those episodes, because on this episode, we have lost our Italian audience, our Brazilian audience, and our Australian audience. So make sure you follow us, Spanners Ready and Missed Apex, on all your social media platforms. Support us at patreon.com/Missed Apex. And wherever we see you next, work hard, be kind, and have fun. This was Missed Apex Podcast. That's only a third of our audience gone. Thanks, Kyle. Oh, come watch motorbikes with me after we've alienated our whole audience. Great. You don't even need 4 wheels. Let's just lean over and not fall down like witches.